Back here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you. Appreciate you all being here today on the Thursday edition of the program. Yesterday, we had some news to react to in the form of a brand new head coach for the Phoenix Suns. Jordan Ott will be the man on the sidelines, courtside for the Suns for the next 3-4 seasons, it looks like. That's the reported length of the deal for Jordan Ott. And I think yesterday, I tried to take a very glass half full approach. Normally, I skew more towards the glass being half empty. I was more optimistic yesterday. Who Jordan Ott is as a coach, and we'll get more into that as the show progresses, changed my opinion, and Devin Booker putting his seal of approval on this also played a role in me taking a more optimistic, not a full-blown, this is a slam dunk, totally on board, but a more optimistic approach to the hiring of Jordan Ott and not just defaulting into, you hired a Michigan State guy. I'm going to see right through that for what it is. The fix was in from the get-go. This was a predetermined outcome, and this is just a continuation of Matt Ishbia just wanting to be surrounded with people he is comfortable with instead of being uncomfortable. That is the approach that I took yesterday. And I said that the side of the equation that most Suns fans were on of thinking the fix was in, thinking this was a terrible hire, being upset about the way the Suns are being run right now, way more proof on your side of the equation. I don't have a whole lot of proof on my end to be as optimistic as I was. And it did not take us long for you to have more proof on your side and for me to question what I was thinking in the first place by being optimistic yesterday. I first saw this from Gerald Bourguet over of PHNX on gophnx.com. But an email Matt Ishbia reportedly sent out on Wednesday in the wake of hiring Jordan Ott. And before we get into some of the direct quotes from the email, let me just say, top line, 30,000-foot view, this should scare all of us. Every single one of us should be concerned about the contents of this email in regards to where the Suns are right now and where the Suns plan to be going in the future. So Ishbia emailed reportedly the entire Suns basketball operation on Wednesday. According to Gerald Bourguet's reporting, took accountability for not doing enough to get the culture set up, to get this team with the identity. That's why we saw and heard those buzzwords so much from Matt Ishbia, from Brian Gregory in his introductory press conference. And then Matt Ishbia said something that is concerning. He also said something that, let's just say, is not true. Because Matt Ishbia made the claim that he tried, quote, running the typical NBA owner playbook, end quote. What does that playbook look like? Quote, hiring experts, signing checks, and getting out of the way, end quote. He certainly hired experts. Experts like Frank Vogel, experts like Mike Budenholzer, experts like Brian Gregory to be a consultant, hired experts to put together this team. He certainly signed checks. Cannot take that away from him. Highest payroll in the history of the sport, luxury tax, second apron, you name it, the Suns pay it. Brought in big-time players. Spared no expense in pursuit of trying to win a championship when he first got here. But he says that he got out of the way. There's no way that that is true. Within mere minutes, seconds, days, weeks of being the owner of the Phoenix Suns, Kevin Durant was traded to this organization. A matter of moments from the time Matt Ishbia took over, Kevin Durant became a member of the Phoenix Suns. When before that, they couldn't get the deal done. Suns, James Jones wasn't really interested in parting with what Brooklyn was asking for. Matt Ishbia gets here, boom, right away. All those first-round picks to Brooklyn. Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson to Brooklyn. Gone in an instant. That summer, Bradley Beal is brought here in a flash. And Matt Ishbia is making the claim that he followed the typical NBA owner playbook and stayed out of the way. I don't think there's been anything typical about the way Matt Ishbia has run things here so far in his short tenure. The one thing I certainly wouldn't say is that he got out of the way. Now, he is the owner. He is going to be involved. He does need to sign off on things. He is going to share his opinion. There is nothing wrong with any of that. But to make the claim to all of us that you got out of the way and it didn't work, so it requires a new approach, is just, I'm sorry, I can't see how it's true. When the Kevin Durant thing happens moments after you get here. That summer, Bradley Beal is here on this team. You had a role in all of that. You had a role in firing the coaches and bringing on the new coaches. You had a role in getting to the point that we got to right now. And he said that no one was happy with the outcome of running that typical NBA owner playbook. So now what is this going to look like? Well, Ishbia apparently, quote, plans to be, quote, extremely active in the decisions and management. So now we are going to see, because before, trading for Kevin Durant the moment he gets here, acquiring Bradley Beal, changing all of those coaches, going through all of the coaches since he's gotten here, that was Matt Ishbia staying out of the way. That was him hanging out on the sidelines and letting the experts, letting the basketball people do basketball things. So now we're going to see a different version. We're going to see a more hands-on Matt Ishbia. Producer Evan, my memory sometimes eludes me, but you were here around the time when Matt Ishbia had that press conference at the end of the season. You were around when James Jones and Josh Bartelstein spoke to the media. Remember what they told us? No, Matt's not involved.
He's not involved, and change is coming.
Change is coming, and he lets the basketball people do basketball things, and that's the way it's going to be moving forward.
And I want to exactly say, I just wasn't the quote from Josh Bartelstein that he is not involved, but is very willing to back us financially. That was the quote.
Said he's not in there breaking down film. He's not in there suggesting who to draft. He's not in there doing all those things. He lets the basketball people do basketball things. And the message from all of us, the takeaway from that is that that's how things are going to continue to be. They weren't saying that at the time as a negative. They weren't saying it as he needs to be more involved. They were doing it to refute everybody out there who says that Matt is too involved. And so now we're going to go to another level, because now we're going to see an extremely active Matt Ishbia. And this is where all of the people yesterday into today worrying about Jordan Ott being the hire and all of this talk of where's my drop,
the alignment,
all this talk of everybody being on the same page. This is where you're right. This is where today you get to take the victory lap. Because for those of you who thought that this is all about Matt Ishbia just getting people that he's comfortable with, getting people that are just going to tell him what he wants to hear, and he's going to be able to run them over and do things his way, you were right. You are correct. There is no other way to look at all of this. Matt Ishbia was out of the way previously, and now we're going to see an involved, an extremely active version of Matt Ishbia. Let me tell you something, everybody. I don't want to see that version of Matt Ishbia. That version scares me, because if that version is hiring his buddy in Brian Gregory, and then by extension, hiring a coach with Michigan State ties, and everybody's just talking the same language and speaking the same tone and direction and rowing the boat in the same direction, but there's no counter opinion, we've got a problem. See, on the surface, being aligned,
the alignment,
having everybody on the same page, from your coach up to your GM, up to your owner, would be a welcomed sight. In a vacuum, we would love that. You can't row a boat out on the lake if one person is rowing opposite of everybody else. You'll just spin in circles. You'll never get anywhere. There is immense organizational value in everybody being on the same page. But here's the problem. If you don't have the counter opinion, if you don't have somebody in the room that is willing to play devil's advocate and provide a different context, then you're never going to maybe see the other side of the coin, or maybe uncover something that you weren't thinking about previously that could help you become a better organization. And the other reason why this
the alignment
bothers a lot of people is they don't trust Matt Ishbia. Because let's face it, Matt is saying that he got out of the way. I'm sorry, I don't agree. It's just my opinion. I just don't agree. I don't agree that what we saw his first couple of years of being an owner, I would line up with the phrase, he was out of the way. In fact, I would make the case that he was very involved, that Kevin Durant trade set us on a collision course to where we sit today. And so now we are going to see a more hands-on owner,
The alignment.
with all of this new alignment, everybody speaking the same language, everybody on the same page, everybody rowing the boat in the same direction. On one hand, I welcome that consistency throughout the organization. On the other hand, it petrifies me because will somebody stand up and say, no, we can't do it that way. That way's wrong. We need to do it this way. Or is it going to be a bunch of people that just want to tell Matt Ishbia exactly what he wants to hear?
The age-old question is how many yes men are in the building?
And with this, see, yesterday, I tried to make the case to all of you that that's not what was going on here. That Jordan Knott was qualified, maybe not as qualified as others, but qualified to get this job. And the Michigan State thing, while a problem, doesn't have to be the be-all, end-all. It could work out, and we could forget about it. That's the case that I made to you yesterday. But now that I hear that Matt Ishbia plans to be extremely active in the decisions and the management of the basketball team, how else am I supposed to look at it as you picked people and you hired people that you could run over? That you picked people and you hired people that aren't going to stand in your way when you want to just zig instead of zagging and you want to draft this player or you want to sign that player or you want to continue to trade for this star or that star. Have you really learned? You said you learned. You said you're going to do things differently. Are you, though? And if you are doing them differently, is it the type of different that we want to see? That's the other wrinkle here. This may be different. It may actually be different from what Matt Ishbia was doing before. That doesn't necessarily equate to it being a good thing. So that email came out yesterday, or the reporting around the email came out yesterday, and I got to tell you, it scares me. It scares me that what we saw in the past, apparently, at least to Matt Ishbia, wasn't him being involved. And so now he is going to be more hands-on. He is going to be more involved. And you know what? When you hire a GM that has no experience, but you have ties to from Michigan State, and then you hire a coach who, yes, has experience, but is not as qualified as the other candidates, and he also has the ties to Michigan State, it just reeks. It stinks that you are putting figureheads in place, placeholders in there that aren't actually going to. There's a difference between being on the same page, but having a respectful discourse where you can have a difference of opinions and you can figure out what the right course is moving forward. The other version is you have a setup where Matt Ishbia is in charge, and I said this in the morning meeting. I'll say it here now. I wonder if Matt Ishbia thought he could do it, if he could be the coach, GM, and owner all at the same time. That's the feeling I have after seeing some of these quotes.
The old Jackie Moon.
Just do everything myself. And basically, he's probably going to be doing that anyway with the people that he's hired. So all of my optimism from yesterday, you can just throw it in the trash can. Just gone. Doesn't exist anymore.